Yeah. Woo. Let's go, man. Welcome on in to Philly Take with RB Sixers post-game live show. The 76ers get it done again. They win a ball game on the road on a Sunday afternoon and take down the Chicago Bulls 108-100. Joel Embiid returns. We'll talk about that. Tyrese Maxey bounce back game. Oh, wait. This is the first full game that we got to see Joel, Tyrese, and Paul George all play together. Man, lots to discuss from this game. And welcome on in, everybody. Don't look too quick now, but the Sixers have won 4 out of their last 5 ball games. The team actually looked formidable today. They won't play for the next 4 days, and then they will return after the in-season tournament concludes to play the Indiana Pacers and then the Charlotte Hornets and then so on. Ladies and gentlemen, are we back? Are we back? Well, one thing's for sure, Philly Take with RB is back. I apologize for not being able to call the game live. Unfortunately, the Sixers thought they were slick, and the one game they want to bring back Joel Embiid, everybody is fixated on the Eagles, which, as you all know, I cover as well for A2ZSports.com, A to Z Philly. Check that out. But at a 1 p.m. start time on a Sunday, doesn't matter what time they're going. The Sixers pull up, and they show up, and they actually play a formidable basketball game, and they have won 4 out of 5. And most importantly, what we saw today was the big 3, or should I say big 4, actually get to play together. So we will get into all of it, man. Do me a favor for the one time. Go right down below this stream and hit the like button. I know we're a few hours late, but it's never too late to talk analysis and chop it up. Subscribe to the channel. Help us get to 41,000 subscribers. We will potentially take a few phone calls as well. So join in on the Discord if you want to chime in on the convo and on what you saw. It's been a great day so far in Philly sports, despite a couple nail biters. The Sixers actually get a win. They're now 7-15. Doesn't feel as treacherous as 10 games under 500. But I want to talk about a few main things in this game. And the first being Joel Embiid. Because Joel Embiid comes back today. And my first initial thought was, well, this is kind of weird, right? You got 4 days off after this. Why bring him back? They said he was going to be on a minute restriction. Well, whatever that was, he played 33 minutes. So whether that was his decision to, keep him out there, or whether they just kind of lied about the minute restriction, Joel played 33 minutes, and it took all 33 to get it done. But this game was a tale of 2 halves, or should I say tale of 2 quarters for Joel Embiid, because he comes out initially and he starts this game off 2 for 10, and it could not have been a worse start. The guy's lugging up and down the floor. He looks like typical, original Embiid to start a season, right? Rusty, slow, not caring, just going out there doing whatever. He's getting beat to the cup, and he's just walking down the floor. I'm like, uh-oh, here we go, man. Not only does he come back, not only is he going to play limited minutes, but now he looks like crap. And I'm like, man, this is not a good look for the 76ers. But Joel Embiid, despite starting 2 for 10 in this ball game, completely does a 180. And I think we can summarize it best here with this tweet from Tim Bontemps, because the Sixers were down, I think, 10 or more at the end of the first quarter, and they go on a 24-6 run to open the second quarter, but it was led by Joel Embiid, who didn't score a single point in the first quarter. He comes out and he drops 15 in the first 7:24 of the second quarter with 6 for 8 from the field. And at that point, I keep saying Eagles because the Eagles just played and I was covering the Eagles, but the Sixers turn on the Jets. They're getting out, getting some steals, getting some easy transition buckets, and their defense took it up to another notch. And it looks like it clicked. They started to finally feel comfortable together. But most importantly, it was Joel Embiid who felt very comfortable running a pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey. There was a couple possessions there early in the second where they dump it down to Joel Embiid in the post, and he does his little shake, or he spins, drop step, boom, goes in, maybe misses a layup, gets it, puts it back, fine. But one thing we have said about this Sixers team, and it's hard to emphasize this with not a lot of continuity with the team, but they need to hammer home a play when it's working. They need to stay with something consistently if it is proving to be successful. And in that second quarter, we finally saw the Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid pick and roll. Tyrese at the top of the arc, Embiid sets one, Maxey comes around, couple steps, one bouncer to Joel, and every single time from the nail, from the elbow, easy jump shot. And the defender, a.k.a. Nikolai Vucevic, was in a tough spot. I mean, the guy's in no man's land, because do I come up and guard Joel and let him pump fake and drive right past me in for a layup or a dunk? Do I stay back and challenge him to shoot that 10-foot shot, which he makes every damn time? Or do I kind of stay in between? But it doesn't matter, because when Joel's on and he's locked in, he's going to make that shot regardless. So nonetheless, man, Joel Embiid started to get into a rhythm, and he went on an absolute tear, and he ended up dropping 19 points in the second quarter, and he started to have his legs under him, and it looked great. And in the meantime, Tyrese Maxey's finding his teammates. He looks to be more comfortable. Paul George got into a groove a little bit, and he wasn't the best offensively today, 12 points for PG. But one thing that we cannot even have a conversation about when we talk about Paul George and the comparison to Tobias Harris or another player like that who's been here in the past is PG is a much better defender. PG usually gets a couple steals. He didn't have any today, but he usually makes it hard for his guy to create an open space, whereas it felt like before the player that was here before constantly made it harder for the team. And Joel Embiid being on the floor was the presence that we needed to see, that this team is needed. And I know everybody's going to come back and say, well, didn't you guys say to build around Maxey and McCain? Didn't we say it was the M&M show? I never said that they had to can Joel, can PG and these guys, but I think we saw something. And even when Joel started to get going in this game, there was one common denominator. The Sixers were playing quicker. This cannot be an Embiid-centric offense all the time where they just lug the ball down the floor, take 20 seconds up of the shot clock and dump it into Joel and just play like that every night for 48 minutes. That cannot happen. That is not sustainable. One, to keep Joel healthy, but two, to get other guys involved. You saw Maxey initiating tonight. You saw PG initiating at some points. You saw Jared McCain get some looks off the dribble, or a couple passes, a couple off-ball screens, set up a McCain rotation wide open in the corner. The Sixers are actually running an offense now, and it is thanks to Joel Embiid's presence being back on the floor. So Joel Embiid started to get in a groove, and he finished this game with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks He was a monster defensively as well. There were some normal, typical Embiid defensive possessions where he just let them have a layup. But I thought his presence in the paint changed the dynamic of how this Bulls team wanted to play. Now, I will give Zach LaVine credit. I'll give, some of these other cats credit. I mean, they hung in there. Kobe White had 13, but inefficient game. Josh Giddey had a couple nice drives and kicks out. The Bulls just don't have enough. Zach LaVine has had an incredible season so far. He hit 6 triples today. Nikolai Vucevic had no business stopping Joel Embiid. And I think what I'm happiest about is that Joel Embiid looked like a glimpse of the old Embiid today. This was not the first 4 games of Embiid that we saw where, he comes into this game and he's tired and he's hurt. It actually looked like Joel had, brought out the old Joel that we're used to seeing. And this was the first game of the season where Joel Embiid played that the team actually won. And it took contributions from everybody. It wasn't just Joel. It was everybody. And I also have to give Tyrese Maxey a shout out. We talked about his 14 dimes, but Tyrese Maxey posted his first career triple-double. He got those 10th and 11th rebounds at the end of the game, but Tyrese Maxey was going tonight. He wasn't just being complacent. He wasn't just sitting and thinking too long. He was decisive with his actions, with his dribble moves. He was getting the ball into Joel Embiid, nice post-entry passing. And it seemed like Maxey's confidence went from all the way down here to just shooting like a rocket. That's the Joel Embiid effect. He takes attention away from the defense. He takes pressure away from some of the other guys who have to eat. Does this mean that Maxey can never do it by himself? Does it mean he can never be the number one? I don't know. But what I do know is that your chances with Joel, PG, and Maxey on the floor feel way better than those guys not being on the floor, which is easy to see. Gershon Yabusele didn't have a good game. Kelly Oubre had 12 points. He did have 10 rebounds. Couple big missed shots, but I think the tale here is that Joel Embiid just completely changes a roster. When healthy, of course, he completely changes a team. And I think, the Sixers have needed this, right? We can evaluate the entire season so far. We can talk about some of these close losses and how this team has given up games and, how they're not good enough to finish. Well, the fact of the matter is any team that doesn't have their MVP caliber player, their anchor, is going to probably look similar to what the Sixers have done this season. Not that they couldn't have gotten more out of their guys so far. Not that Nick Nurse couldn't have been better so far. But having a healthy Joel Embiid completely changes the team. And this is what their expectations were and are. Now, before we get into a little bit more of this, right? Because nobody off the bench had a crazy game. I mean, KJ was okay. I'm still not completely sold on KJ. No Ricky Council in this game again. I got to talk about Nick Nurse, all right? And there's a few things I need to say. But I want to show you guys something right now, all right? Because a lot of people have, responded to me in the recent games, and they're like, why are you just picking on Kyle Lowry? Why are you just picking on Kyle Lowry? Why do you care so much about Kyle Lowry? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this once and once only. Nick Nurse's obsession with Kyle Lowry is going to cost this team a handful of games. And I have an exact, perfect example to show you. 2 examples, matter of fact. Here is the first quarter. I'm watching the game. I'm watching the Eagles, taking notes of everything at the same time. Here's what happened in this Sixers game, all right? 2:28 to go in the first quarter, and Kyle Lowry enters at the second substitution for Jared McCain. McCain came in, gave you a little spark off the bench. I still don't think he should be coming off the bench, but if you're going to bring Jared McCain in off the bench to play starter minutes, and that means we don't need to see the veteran point guards anymore, then I'm cool with it. But Kyle Lowry comes in, and the score at that point was 28-19, okay? 28-19, Chicago. And after the final couple minutes of the first quarter, and we'll go to the second quarter here. By the time Kyle Lowry came out of this ballgame, luckily Joel had brought them back in, but the Sixers were getting absolutely smacked around with Kyle Lowry in this game. I don't know why they keep going to Kyle Lowry. What was his final plus minus in this game? It was -5. He had 3 points, 1 rebound, and 1 steal. And if it wasn't for Joel going on a tirade in the first couple minutes of the second quarter, I mean, Lowry came in and immediately had a turnover. I think he had a foul. Couldn't guard anybody. And luckily, the Sixers were able to get back in this game because of Joel Embiid. There he is. He had 1 steal here in the second quarter. And then Jared McCain came back in for Kyle Lowry. But here's what happened in the fourth quarter. This one is the more telling example. 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. And at this point, the game had completely flipped. The Sixers are up by 17 points. It's 88-71. We go through the final couple minutes of the third quarter. Nurse keeps in Kyle Lowry to start the fourth quarter. And now we look at the fourth quarter. Kyle Lowry, offensive foul. Kyle Lowry, turnover. So with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter, the Sixers were up by 17. And if we take it all the way down here, where are we at here? Kyle Lowry comes out of the game with 10:18 to play. And the score at that point was 89-84. So Kyle Lowry was in for a total of about 4.5 to 5 minutes. And the lead went from 17 down to 5. Now, was that only because of him? No. And I don't just want to pin it on Kyle Lowry. But every time this guy comes in, especially late in games, in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, not only does the lead evaporate, but the energy on the floor diminishes. Because Kyle Lowry doesn't just, miss shots. He barely even takes shots. He doesn't defend anymore. He's too slow and old to do that. But he also doesn't do the little things that used to make Kyle Lowry that annoying pest that you used to play against, right? He doesn't do those same things. And as somebody described it before, it's almost like he's just out there running cardio. So maybe you don't have the best depth, right? But I would take Reggie Jackson in this game over Kyle Lowry. Why doesn't Ricky Council play? Couple games ago, Ricky had a nice couple game stretch and showed that he's going to bring that electricity off the bench. He's going to bring a bit of a spark, and he just doesn't play, and you elect to go with the vet. Even though it was only for 12 minutes tonight, we finally have weeded out Eric Gordon. He's not playing anymore. But why is Kyle Lowry in this ball game? It feels like every time he comes in, the lead gets cut, and the other team goes on a run. And then you just have it where you're in the fourth quarter, and now it's like working your way back up, right? You were on the top of the hill, then you slid down. Now you got to work your way back up to the top. So I think that Nick Nurse's decisions with these rotations can only get better from here. But I think the Sixers have to get either another backup point guard. If I was Daryl Morey, I would cut Kyle Lowry and hire him back as an assistant coach. Let him, be on the coaching staff. But this guy is hurting this ball club. And the fact that he is still getting a bunch of minutes, it's very mind-boggling from a standpoint of evaluating talent. Like, you have the younger guy who's in the arsenal ready to go, who can contribute more to the team. And I just don't understand why Kyle continues to get these minutes. It does not make any sense to me. There's nobody on this team who doesn't deserve to play over Kyle Lowry right now. So that's the one weakness in this game, the one thing that pissed me off. The other thing was the Sixers couldn't make any threes. That's really what kept the Bulls in it at one point. I mean, again, the Bulls came out surging. They were up 10 points at the end of the first. It was 33-23. And the Sixers, you look at the starting lineup tonight. Maxey was the best three-point shooter. He went 3 for 12. Kelly Oubre, 2 for 3. So that's 5 for 15 combined. The rest of them couldn't even hit a 3. So 5 for 15 for Maxey and Oubre. And then 12 more misses. I mean, are you kidding me, man? 5 for 27 from the starting lineup. This team is going to have to be able to knock down shots. I mean, we can talk about the X's and O's, but sometimes it's just a simplistic game, right? Hit your shots. Hit your shots, man. Sometimes you just got to hit your shots. And luckily, the Sixers were able to come back from that. Luckily, Joel Embiid was able to go on a tear. He had a nice beginning to the fourth quarter. Caleb Martin came off the bench tonight, 13 minutes, nothing in the stat sheet. Little bit concerned about Caleb Martin. It looked like at one point he was almost going back to walk in the locker room for an injury. I feel like he's been banged up severely. But here's my overall take on this game. And then if we have anybody who wants to call in and give thoughts, call in on the Discord or call in on the phone lines. Here's my final takeaway of this game. The Sixers now have a proof of concept. This game right here showed you that if Joel Embiid, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey, and Jared McCain can actually play together, this team can be formidable. They have the formula, but we cannot stand to see this team now missing games. After a pretty good game today, you've won 4 out of 5 games. Is Joel Embiid going to play the next game in 5 days? Is Paul George going to play the next game? They cannot continue to roll with this formula of playing one, sitting the next, not playing back-to-backs, not building that consistency and chemistry. If this team can actually get on the floor and play games together, they can make some noise. But the biggest question now, and the biggest question that we asked back in the offseason, and the biggest question that will determine whether this Sixers basketball team can be a contender, whether it's this year or in future seasons, or in this final window, I guess you could say, of the Embiid era, is can they stay on the floor? It is the constant. It always just comes back to that. You know, this team has to build an identity. You can't build an identity by having 2 games where Maxey's the only guy on the floor creating, and then having a game where Joel decides to come back and play, and then having another game where, you know, he's nowhere to be found, or another stretch where he's nowhere to be found for 7 games. So I think people forgot about how good Joel Embiid actually is when healthy, when his knee is not completely swollen. And I think people underrate the impact that he makes both on the offensive side of the floor as well as the defensive side of the floor. But I think what we're seeing is that Joel Embiid doesn't have to be MVP Embiid. He can take a back seat. Joel Embiid can take a back seat some nights and let Maxey initiate and let PG initiate, even Jared McCain. There's too many weapons on the floor, and they don't need to burn out Joel Embiid anymore. But just having him there on the floor is always going to make a complete difference in a basketball game. So that's where I'm at with this team, man. It was nice to see. And oh yeah, one other thing I will say too is that the Sixers have bought in defensively as well. One thing that we really stressed over the first 10 to 12 games of the season was, why does this team not go for second chance points? Why don't they grab rebounds and dive on the floor? Why does nothing look cohesive with this unit? I will say the Sixers have bought in a lot more defensively. They look energized. Even when they go down in a game like they did in the first quarter, they don't, completely give up. It's not over. So I will say they had a chance where they could have just laid down and quit this season. And the Sixers are actually fighting to get back in this thing. Now, I want to talk about one quote from Nick Nurse as well that came out early this morning. Keith Pompey put it here on Twitter. And to me, this is a very telling thing. And by the way, if you guys are in here, man, please do me a favor, like the stream and subscribe to the channel. Help us push this around. Follow us on all of our socials, man, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. Here was a very telling thing before this game today that really woke me up about this team, right? Listen to this quote. Nick Nurse says, "It's obviously been really tough. You go into a season and you have your thoughts on things, and our players, the three main guys, Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George, have played together 6 minutes in 21 games. That is not good. One of our guys, Paul George, has played half the games. Joel has played 4 or 5, however much it's been. Quote, I'll just reiterate the last 7 games. They played pretty well. I'm proud as heck of these guys. They're really working and trying to figure it out. I think they're undersized and outmanned and all that stuff, but they are fighting like heck." So, Nick Nurse could come out here and he could rip his guys and, give that kind of vibe off that this team is uninterested and they just know they're overpowered and they're just going to, sit back until they ever get healthy. But now he says, I'm proud of my guys. They've been putting in the work, and we've seen that the last several games. They've actually been playing harder. They're actually buying in as a team with that team mentality. And I think that's very telling that this Sixers team is nowhere near from giving up. And now we've seen what they can do together, even though it's been a very small sample size. So the question is, again, will they stay healthy? Will they be able to string some games together now? Will they be able to play a consistent stretch as a team to see how they can build on this? And that's where I'm at. If they can, maybe this team will actually be back. But if not, and for example, let's say Joel Embiid doesn't play on Friday night or Paul George doesn't play on Friday night, then I'm going right back to where I have been. I'm going right back to, man, this is really what we're going to do of not playing, the following games, even though you have 5 days of rest. So we will see how it plays out. But that's what I got on today's game, man. It was a weird one, 1 p.m. on a Sunday, but a tough win on the road nonetheless. And they find a way to get it done. All right, man, let's go to the phone lines. We got a couple people waiting in here. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm going to actually load up the phone lines as well. Like I said, guys, sorry that we couldn't do the watch along today, but today is actually the last game where there will be an overlap with the 76ers and the Eagles. So we should be good moving on forward. But like I said, they have December here, and then the schedule gets very tough. So they need to win a lot of games right now, and they need to be rocking and rolling heading into Christmas. All right, man. Let's go ahead and go on to the Discord. Guys, join our Discord. I'm going to see if I have the link up here somewhere. I'm actually going to throw the link in the chat in case you guys want to join the Discord. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's take our first caller, man. Let's go to the starter. My guy exclusive on the Discord. Exclusive, unmute your mic, man. Yo.
Hello?
Yo, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Going good, man. How are we feeling?
Feeling good, man. I mean, it's great to see another Sixers win. I think overall, there's definitely some positives to take away. I think with, obviously, first, pretty evident. You saw what Joel did today. He started off kind of cold, got warm as the game went on. Obviously, that second quarter was phenomenal. And that's, I guess, what we're accustomed to seeing. And I just feel like, similar to what you said, right, having him on the floor really changes the dynamic of the whole team. And that's no secret, right? The attention that he draws, it really is a system that we have. I mean, at least it appears it's a system that we have that, really thrives when he's on the floor in regards to like backdoor cuts, just creating space for other people, pick and roll action for Maxey and et cetera. So, I mean, it's no secret when he's on the floor what that does to our offense. So,
yeah, I think the whole team just has a different mindset. It's like, imagine going out there being a role player and you're asked to do one single thing well, and then the main anchor of the team, the guy who, they run 70% of the game through, is not there, right? So you got to take a step up. You got to do more, throw more on your plate. And now having that guy back is almost just like a cushion in a way. You just can focus more on what you're good at. And I think the rest of the team is willing to just rely on Joel and put a lot on his shoulders.
Agreed. And that's, I think, the positive, just him at the very least being on the floor, right? I also, I guess, to touch upon what you said about the threes, we definitely had our games where, we weren't necessarily shooting it great. This one's interesting because, possibly, I guess to go at what you said there, I think possibly maybe it's just a factor that it was an early game, right? I know, like, it was 1 o'clock.
Yep.
I think Central Time, that's 12 o'clock, right? You might come into games like that and it's just a morning game, realistically, right?
Yeah.
Everything they've done up to that point to prep for that game was in the morning.
Yeah, it was a weird one, man.
Yeah. So maybe it's that. I mean, hopefully it's that. But other than that, I mean, I only got a chance to really watch like the core, like second, third quarter for the most part, and parts of the first. But yeah, I mean, it's just no secret. When you have Joel on the floor, the team just looks completely different.
Yeah, and I think when you look at this Sixers team as a whole, I don't think any of us have really been mad about the idea of Joel being on the floor healthy with everybody actually playing. It's just, we're 21 games into a season and, we just haven't seen it more than 6 minutes, which is insane. I think we've really been directing our frustrations at the front office, but if they can get these guys on the floor consistently together and it can look like it did today, then I think you have something really good. And I think this is what the vision was. It just has taken a million roads to even get here at this point.
Yeah. So I agree. I think there's something really, cooking up here. There's a chance that we can really take this and run with it. So I agree 100%.
Yeah. 100%. And actually one thing that you always come on here and say is the points in the paint, right? And today, absolute domination again. Like that's the Embiid effect. 54-30 in the paint. I mean, Joel's he's just different, man, Like Vucevic he's been a stable center, but he's not that good. And Embiid was just serving him in that second quarter. So that's what they need to do, man. Got to keep rocking and rolling with that pick and roll, man. It's unstoppable.
Agreed.
All right, man. Appreciate you calling in, bro. As always.
Hey. Yep. Thank you again for having me.
Thanks, man. We're going to go rapid fire, bang, bang to the next one. Guys, do me a favor. Like the stream, man. Like the stream. Hit that like button. Let's push this out to more Sixer fans. What do you guys think in the chat, man? Yes or no? Are we back? Are we back? Yes or no? Drop it in the chat. Shout out to everybody in here, man. Let's go to, who do we got up next, man? Let's go to Fredo. Fredo on the Discord. Hold on. Let me get you in here. Fredo, what's going on, man? Fredo on the Discord.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Going good, man. How are we feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Embiid looked agile today. He moved a lot better today than he has any game he's played this year.
Yep. 100%.
I would love to see more McCain and Embiid pick and rolls, but I understand he's a rookie. Maxey's got the chemistry with him.
Yeah.
PG played good today outside of him missing a lot of the threes he took. Well, all the threes he took, but outside of that, he's knocking down his mid ranges. Kelly played great energy wise. He played
3
balls
steals
to the wall, diving for everything.
Yep.
KJ Martin defense still looks good.
Yeah, I think Kelly's starting to come around a little bit, but I still want to see a bit more consistency from him.
I had to take. I'm on my phone. I had to take it to speaker. I could barely hear you, but now I can hear you.
Now you're good, man. I said I think Kelly's starting to come around a little bit, but I just want to see it be a little more consistent. But this was a good game from him today.
And I would love to see Kelly be more consistent, but he's definitely coming around to look like the Kelly we fell in love with last year. So It's nice to see him start to pick it up.
Yeah.
But other than that, the team, what I like most about today's win is that when Embiid doesn't play, we play faster. And even with him on the floor, it looked like we were playing with him as he wasn't, like if he wasn't there, which
Agreed.
I liked a lot.
Yep, absolutely. Like after that first quarter got out of the way and Embiid was just, it looked like he was literally shaking off the rust from not playing in a couple weeks. But once they got through that, they were actually playing a bit quicker and getting a few points in transition and just, it wasn't the normal slow Embiid-centric offense where they just walk it down the floor every time. So I agree with that.
Him, obviously having him back, can't wait till Bona gets back because I hope Nick Nurse will still play Bona, even though Andre Drummond's back and Embiid's back. But the paint defense looked great today. It wasn't a lot of people coming down there trying to do anything because now we have a 7-footer that's back.
Yeah.
But that second quarter by Embiid, that looked like, the Embiid we know and love, the guy that's going to go out there and any given night he'll drop 50. That second quarter looked very good.
Yeah. And I think they got him in like prime position to do it as well. They made the game easier for him. That quick action, that pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey or just dumping it down into the low block. I feel like Joel came out early in this game and was, trying to shoot threes. It just didn't look like the way Embiid can get into rhythm. And I think in the second quarter, he just kind of locked in and he went unconscious for a few minutes there.
Yeah, look, I'm going to make this quick because I got to go soon and I don't want to hold anybody up. But I would love to see them look. I know he's a rookie, but I would love to see them look McCain's way just a little more because a lot of times that Embiid shot, more so in the third quarter, Embiid or Maxey would shoot it. Whether they would make it or not, it was times where McCain was wide open on the wing, and I'm like, just look his way.
Yep.
They ran a play where Kelly Oubre shot a three. I'm pretty sure he made it, but he was in the corner. It was like, I think it was a pick and roll, and then they passed it to Paul George, and Paul George gave it to Oubre to three. And I'm just like, I would love for those plays to come to McCain in the corner because he's such a good shooter.
Yeah, I agree. Jared McCain does not miss open threes. He had 3 today, and anytime they go to McCain, it just feels like it's an automatic. It's been a while since I felt that way with a Sixers player, but anytime McCain puts it up, I think it's going in.
No, I think it's going in too. They need to play him like we had when we had Seth Curry or JJ Redick.
Yeah, he's really good, man.
He's a ball handler. He can move around, so he can create his own shot.
Yeah, I agree. He's really good, man.
All I'm waiting for is Caleb Martin to figure out that he's a basketball player again. And once he comes around, I'll have a little more faith. But I am a delusional Sixers fan, so I am going to say the Sixers are back.
Let's go, man. Let's go, Fredo. Hey, appreciate you calling in, man.
I appreciate it, RB.
Thanks, man. Sixers are back, apparently. I still think we need to see it against better teams. I don't think Chicago's that good of a squad, but the formula was there, right? I feel like the regular season is about building that formula, building that identity, getting the recipe right, putting all the ingredients together. And today was a first sample of that. Like today was, if you think about it, which is absolutely wild to think about, this was the first time that we saw a full game of Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid. Joel didn't play in the preseason. They played 6 minutes together. So the first time we see these guys play together, and yes, there were some scary moments, mostly when Kyle Lowry came in the game. But anytime, we saw them in there together, they were making plays. And yeah, I think we saw that they need to play quicker, more up-tempo, and however that happens, it's how you got to roll with it. But one thing I want to say about PG too is not only is he a really good defender, but his 6 field goals that he made today, I just found that they were in big-time moments, and he created them off the dribble on his own island. I feel like Tobias Harris could never do that. I mean, maybe he could from 5 feet away from the basket, but, PG will take these long twos, or he'll drive in and he'll put a move on and just find a way to step back from the baseline and knock one down. And it's usually in a big moment that can kind of swing the momentum in the Sixers' favor. So I like how PG's playing, man. I like this groove that he's been in, over the last 3 to 4 games. And I hope that he can keep it up as well. I hope he can keep it up. All right, man. Let's go back to the Discord. We got Cool J on the Discord. Cool J.
Yo, RB.
Yo, what's up, man?
Not much. Just happy to see that Joel was able to play today. He was a little shaky in the beginning of the first quarter. He's a real. I mean, I did kind of understand a little bit. Trying to get used to, back to getting the flow of things. I mean, you can see that, the change happened, during the second half where, he started, building, he started making shots.
Yeah.
And I also like that, the good thing is like, having Embiid in, showing Embiid's presence in the game, like, actually, on the court playing does really help this team, flow a lot better. Because we kept saying, without Embiid, this team can't really, to go as well at full potential.
Yeah, I mean, without Joel Embiid, man, there's just, it's completely different. I mean, this team is, I mean, you're taking away a max player who is an MVP caliber presence, even when he's not scoring, but just everything else he does for the team. Not having that is like having a huge gaping hole, in your foot while trying to take a run. Like it's just going to impact you no matter what. So having him back really impacted this game and really the mentality of the team, like I talked about earlier.
Yes. And like, you can see that, it was also close in this game. Like, they started, their offense started getting a little bit better. He's on court. A little bit defensively, they've gotten a lot better with that. Yeah,
they're buying in, man.
Actually going in, doing actual second chances. Taking those, like you said, second chance shots. Making those shots. And being more of a competitive team. Like he makes this team a lot more formidable.
Yeah,
you can see that. You can see that. From the score wise.
Yep.
This team, can be formidable when he's on the paint, which is.
I agree, man. He just changes. He changes the whole game. And I think we've been waiting to see a healthy Embiid, and I don't think the 4 games we saw before were a healthy Embiid. I think they were, I'm hanging off on one leg, still trying to come back, but I'm feeling the pressure of playing. Whereas now I think today was like an actually healthy Embiid, and it was nice to see him back in.
It looked like he had a lot more confident this time.
Yeah.
You see, a lot more confident.
For sure. 100%, man.
So all I can say is like, if we can see, if we can start, continue, go off from this game and continue, trying to like keep getting that flow built up a little bit more, they still improve a little bit more with that.
Yep.
You still can improve from there. Then this team can go back to what we want this team to be. More of a formidable team for other teams to like see like this time we're coming back hard.
Yep, I hope so, man. I hope so. Hey, Cool J, appreciate you calling in, man.
Appreciate those, RB.
Thanks, man. You look at the 76ers right now, they are 13 games out of the top, but they're only a game and a half now behind the Chicago Bulls, funny enough, for the play-in spot. And if you look at the 5 seed, the Atlanta Hawks, they are 8 games out. So the Sixers are actually 5 games behind the 5 seed. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy, man? Yeah, if you guys are in here listening to the show right now, drop a comment. Let me shout you out, man. Welcome in Sixers post-game live show. Are the Sixers actually back, man? Joel Embiid back, playing good today. The big 3, big 4 actually got to play together. They've won 4 out of 5. Is this team actually back, man? I want to get back in. I want to dive back in. I just got to see it against some better teams, but this is a start. This is a start, man. This is a start. All right, I'm going to go to Thor on the Discord, but Brian Pumper in the chat with a $5 super chat. Brian Pumper, what's up, man? Says, looks like I chose the wrong team to watch. How bad was Joel? Was it Jalen Hurts level bad or Avante Maddox? Brian, you missed the gem, man. Joel Embiid played well. Joel Embiid 31 tonight. 31, 12, and 4. He had 2 blocks. Actually looked like himself again. And Tyrese Maxey puts up his first career triple-double, bounces back big time, and the Sixers have won 4 out of 5 games. Don't look now, but they're 5 games out of the 5 seed. Look, ladies and gentlemen, here's how I'm going to judge this moving forward. If they can actually play, if Joel and PG can play the next 4 games, then I'll say, all right, like we really got a chance here. Now, if Joel doesn't play Friday or doesn't play Monday and whatever comes after that, and if they're only playing 1 out of the next 4 games, then I'm going to say, nope, we're right back here again. But today was a great start, man. Today was it was the blueprint. It was laying the blueprint, and now we got to execute. Shout out to Rob Leo in the chat. What's up, Rob? Says Embiid and PG versus Halliburton and Siakam and the Pacers on Friday night. Shout out to Rob. We got Jay in the chat. What's up, Jay? Cool, Jay. Appreciate you calling in, man. Thaddeus says we're back if Joel is back. We got some weirdo Knicks fans in here. It's actually getting to a point where I just laugh it off at this point. Like, Knicks fans are in a post-game show about the Sixers and the Chicago Bulls. I mean, damn, just say you love us, man. Say you love us. All right, let's go to the Discord, man. Take one final one. Thor on the Discord. What's up, man?
That was a good win today. I love that win. I must say I'm very impressed with Embiid, Maxey, and almost everybody in the game today because everybody contributed in their own way.
Yeah, it was one of their best wins, man, with everybody playing as a cohesive unit for sure.
Yeah, and I feel like the Sixers are kind of back because if you look at it, that's like the last few games we won and some of it that we lost recently, it's very close. And even though we lost, at least I would say figure it out. I'm not sure, but I would say like the way we're doing it, I feel like we might have figured it out, but I'm not sure yet. But that's what I'm seeing.
I'm not ready to go there yet, but this is the formula, man, you know? Like, if they can get Joel playing like this on a nightly basis, you know, if he actually plays, if Paul George can be comfortable in that third man, you know, on the chain, and if Tyrese Maxey can dime up the way he did tonight, yeah, this is the formula. This is what we've been waiting to see since the offseason, man. Yeah.
And, like, this is what we were excited about this offseason, doing something like this. And I think they showed us today.
Yeah. And you know, it's a good point, man. They're not giving up, you know?
Yeah.
They could have laid out and said, you know, well, I'm a role player and I got paid good, but Joel's not here and PG hasn't been playing. So we're just going to go out there, make our money and do our thing. But they've actually been improving, and I see the energy level has changed tremendously. So that gives me hope, man.
Yeah, and another thing that's crazy, they're 5 away from the 5th seed, like you said.
That's wild, man.
I feel like this year the Eastern Conference is very wild because if you look at the Western, it's like competitive. Eastern seems a little bit here and there.
It's actually wild. Like, you look at the West, the 10 seed, the Lakers have a positive record, 12 and 11. And then you look at the Eastern Conference and the 8 seed, the Brooklyn Nets are 10 and 14. Like the drastic, you know, comparison there, it's wild, man. The change in talent, I guess, this year from the East to the West is nuts.
It is, yeah.
But I mean, the Cavs are 21-3, the Celtics 19-5. To me, those two have been far above and beyond everybody else. And I don't even believe in the Cavs yet. So, man, it's going to be interesting, you know, to see who can take the Celtics off their high horse.
Yeah, I just hope that like somebody stops them because they're very unstoppable. Like I saw the Celtics Cavs game as a Sixers fan. I'm like, come on. I was like, come on, Cavs, you guys got this. And then Celtics always answer back every time, no matter what happens. Yeah. They always answer back.
Yeah, and I think they got the weight off their shoulder last year, so they're just playing really comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And they can turn it on. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And also we're facing them on Christmas Day. So,
if the Sixers can be healthy for that game and actually have their full team on the floor, I'll be interested to see if they can win that game. That'll be a huge benchmark game for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Thor. Well, appreciate you calling in, my guy.
Yep.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Well, shout out to all 300 here in the chat. Thank you guys for tapping in with me. It's been a interesting day in Philly sports. You know, I was covering the Philadelphia Eagles and I almost had like 5 heart attacks watching that game. And I actually was not as fearful watching the Sixers as the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's what Philadelphia sports do to you, man. Any given day, you never know. But Sixers win, Eagles win, Flyers are on tonight for all my hockey fans out there. And it should be a good end of the weekend. Sixers will not play for the next 4 days because of the in-season tournament. They will resume on Friday night against the Indiana Pacers. But I want to let you guys know that at some point this week, we will probably go live again and kind of just talk about the first 22 games. Kind of just go through, you know, what's happened, how we've gotten here, what the outlook is like moving forward. So we will have some live shows this week, some videos dropping. So be sure to stay locked in, man, and check those out. And no matter what, you know, be sure to support us on all platforms. So Sixers get it done today. They win it 108-100. And now it's on to the next one. And hopefully their entire team can actually play again. So that being said, man, appreciate everybody for tapping in. We're back, maybe. Maybe we're back, maybe not. One game at a time, man. One game at a time. Philly Take with RB. Tell your friends, tell your family members. Got some good things coming this week, man. One game at a time. Sixer post-game live show. Positive stuff today. Got to keep it rolling, moving forward. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your night. Peace.